Hello everyone, welcome back to my Let's Replay channel. Once again, this is Andrew T coming at you. And today we're going to be doing our vlog review of Grim Dawn and Kingdoms of Amalur and Reckoning. Now, when I originally did these, I already had Grim Dawn downloaded and I was playing it for a while. I was like, you know what, let's go ahead and make a video of it. It's a game I enjoy and something I can talk about, and it can show off the gameplay aspects of it. And then I just thought, well, I got Kingdoms of Amalur for pretty cheap on Steam, so I'll go ahead and boot that up and see if it holds up. So, as always, we'll start off with the first game I played, which was Grim Dawn, and then we'll go on to the last one, Kingdoms of Amalur. But Grim Dawn, this is basically a well-done Diablo clone. Now, there have been a ton of these over the years, but this one actually stood the test of time, I think, because they put the effort into it, and they keep on updating it, and the mechanics are still solid to this day. It's nothing new, per se, but there's just some small tweaks to the Diablo formula that they have put in there that will let you keep coming back. So, as an example, you know, Diablo has the different classifications you can do or choose. Same thing with this one. Whether it be male or female, you can go ahead and choose different types. You know, magic, pure magic user, or paladin, shaman. I think the one I had was, I think, the occultist and the ranged class as well. But the ranged class, I realized, well, you use range in melee, but the best weapons with the most damage are the two-handed melee weapons, and it's just so much easier. We can kill people with one hit rather than staying away and chipping them down for 5 minutes. And when there's these big groups of people, so I kind of went that route, but I still kind of like the effects it had, so I just kept it like that. I didn't bother changing it. But yeah, from the storyline aspect of it, it has a lot of lore. Basically, the whole world's gone to hell almost technically because all the dead are rising. There's demons, all these other things, and people are just trying to survive at this point. It's not like in Diablo where you have one town you're trying to save. It's like, no, you're trying to save the whole world at this point. But the storyline, like I said, has a lot of lore in it, so it's not just like, oh, here's a little side story of what happened to, King Leoric or whatever in Diablo. It's like, no, every town and every almost NPC has their own story, and it can be kind of daunting, especially when in the middle of fighting these groups of enemies, and all of a sudden you pick up a tome and like, oh, I'll read that later, and then you may forget about it, or you may want to read it right now, but then you have all these enemies that are trying to attack you. So I ended up kind of skipping past the lore aspects of it. And the same thing with NPCs. With the missions they give you, it's like, okay, I kind of get your motivations, but all I need to do is see the mission I'm at, and that'll kind of give me the overall look for it anyway. So the loot is definitely a good part of it because they have so many different loot types. I still have the the color system. White's trash, yellow's a little bit better, green's a little bit better than that, blue's good, and then I think purple is the last one. I don't think I've gotten anything past blue though, even though I've been playing for a while. But as you can see from the replay that I did, that you just kind of have the overview of the overworld there, and then you have the little dungeons between, and you just kind of, whenever you go to any like side dungeons or caves or mines, whatever the case may be, you get a little bit better loot usually for beating the bosses inside, and sometimes they're 4, 5, 6 levels ahead of you and may not want to do those right then and there. But the problem I ran into was whenever I was playing through it for like 6, 7 hours at the beginning, I went to a cave and it's like, oh, this guy is like 5 levels ahead of you. I'm like, I've done every side quest and I've killed every enemy up to this point. Why would he be this far ahead of me? So one of the things in this game that's kind of its downfall is that it expects you to come back to it like every couple hours, so that way the enemies can respawn and you can get more levels by the time you get to the places they want you to be. But I have it on, I think, the easiest difficulty, so I haven't had any problems just going through. I've died once. Let me just put it that way. I've died once the entire time, which was after this last replay. I kept them playing for a little while, waiting for the videos to upload, and it was just basically because I was going after one of the mini bosses and I didn't keep enough track of my health and just died that one time. I was like, oh, it's okay. You died, but we can go back to your grave marker and then get your experience back, and that's all it cost you. I'm like, well, all right. It was only like 400 experience, so it's not like it took off like a quarter of my experience bar for that. I don't know if it stacks the more you die, but I don't want to find out. So, yeah, and the enemies, the variety is decent, but it's still, you see a lot of them over the course of the game, and they just kind of level to the area you're in. So they're not bullet spongy, but that's about the only other or simile I can come up with for the enemies on the different areas that you go to on the overworld. So if I'm going by the map, because there's literally, the map is like a V. So you go up one side and then the other side after you're halfway through, and that should be the game. So I'm a little over halfway through right now, and it's decent. You know, I'll probably go through it to beat it this time, just to be done with it and see what the ending's like. But it's kind of interesting as well, as that you can, you know, rescue people and send them back to your home base and have them either give you experience or prestige with it, or whatever base you're at. But the only problem I'm finding is that usually if you saved up your money enough or your prestige enough, you can buy these really good items usually on other games that will let you kind of have a leg up, and then you couldn't really afford to buy a lot of them at one time. The problem with this is that on this game, you have to do so many missions for your home base to get your prestige up in order to buy these weapons from the vendor. But once I finally got there, most of them were like 5, 6, 7 levels outside of what I needed to be, or the only thing I could buy was the blacksmith plans or the crafting plans, but I haven't figured out how to craft anything yet. And those things are like 18, 19, 20,000 a piece, and I have like 85 after spending almost nothing the entire game. I'm halfway through. You could buy 5 of those and be back where you started. So I'm trying to save up for those, but it's just one of those little things that is kind of annoying, that I've saved up all this money, but I can't really spend it on anything with the regular vendors because they give me pretty much crap for the level I'm on. So, all in all, I'm enjoying it. I've played it before, like I said, and I'm coming back to it, so it's decent. But the other games out there, like Victor Vran and some of these other third-person that just have the maps, and then they try to make up for it with the little collectibles or side missions, or, you know, kill so many of this, or go through this dungeon without that. They don't really rely on these gimmicks whenever it comes to this game. When you're comparing all the other ones out there that try to do Diablo clones, this one's a little bit more enjoyable, just kind of going through it, you know, turn off your mind, just do some hack and slash and just go through it and try to beat the game and get some better loot. So if I had to give it a score, I have to give this one about a 6 out of 10. So it's above average. It's not horrible. It's not overly good, but it's just a nice thing if you want to pick it up on a sale. It's definitely a good pickup for that. It'll give you some hours of entertainment worth it that way, but it's not really worth it in the case that it's not the at the top of the list. It's like top 5 of the list, but it's not the top 3. So if you want to pick it up, like I said, the voice acting is decent. The graphics are still good. It's they still have DLC coming out for it, so they're still updating it. But it's not something I would say go out and get right now for whatever price it's currently going for. So anyway, we move on to Kingdom of Amalur, The Reckoning. And I said some of this in the video, but this game did not age very well when it booted up on my PC. The textures are blocky. It was not made for PC gaming. It just wasn't. It was made for consoles. You can tell that very, very quickly just from the camera rotation of the mouse. It was just choppy as heck. It does well in that you can go to other enemies when you're attacking them easily, but it's almost like you have a whiplash effect where it's like, you have to turn the mouse fast, but then it just all of a sudden you're there. Excuse me. So, like I said, the story gets really convoluted. I know I skipped the intro, but so you can look it up on YouTube, the intro of that. But the reason why I didn't want to go through it any more than the 15 minutes to even finish in the tutorial, because I think there's another 20 minutes left. They give you the sneak mechanics and all those other things. I'm like, I didn't really enjoy going through the tutorial the first time. And the problem with this game is that once you get onto the open world, you can go anywhere and do anything for the main quest. You don't have to do any side quests, but the side quests are in most cases, better than the main quest you're on. Just for the fact that the rewards it gives you, or the things that you want to do. But the dauntingness of this game, I mean, I played this thing for I think 60 hours and wasn't even, I don't think, even a quarter of a way through the main storyline. I was just like going through going, do I really want to go through this game, through the whole storyline, just be done with it, or I just want to be done? And that's why I stopped playing it on my Xbox originally, was because it was just so much, and it was so convoluted, the story. If I was reading it, it'd probably be interesting as a novel, but for a video game, it just did not keep my attention enough. And the mechanics for the weapons it gives you are great. I enjoyed the combat for the most part. Once I got the chakrams out, I was kicking butt with those, but when it came down to just the gameplay aspects of it and the story, it's all pretty well done, but for all the amount of effort they put into it, it just did not keep me coming back. So if I had to give this a score from just nostalgia, replay value, if you wanted to play through it, you could. You get, easily 80 hours worth of content out of the game. So the replayability is actually pretty high if you like the combat aspects of the game, but you'll never find a different side quest. You can always pretty much go through them the same way. And once you've done all the side quests or the main quest and don't want to do any more of the side quests, it's not really worth coming back to. And I did as many as I could the first time I played, and that's why I just stopped after 15 minutes on this one. I was like, you know what? I don't want to go through those again because I remember how much of a pain they were the first time. So if I had to give it a score, I could probably give it a 5 out of 10. Just because it's just average. It's your average game. Average storyline, decent voice acting from what I remember. They have good voice actors in. They put a lot of money into it, so the basics are there, but it just could not come together in a cohesive game to keep you coming back or to keep you playing throughout the first time. And I wish I still had my original hard copy of it, though. I may still have somewhere in storage, but those are pretty rare now that like I said, the studio's pretty much bankrupted the whole state of Rhode Island, and Kurt Schilling himself. Anyway, if you want to look into that, I definitely recommend looking into that story, just because it's a little bit more interesting than the game itself. There's a story behind it. So anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. This is Andrew T coming at you once again. What a great day for a replay. Y'all have a good one.